Artificial intelligence is revolutionizing the construction industry, and commissioning will be no different. How we do our work for commissioning is going to completely transform over the next few years. It's already starting right now, and we're just getting started with how AI is going to impact our work, and we probably can't even imagine how things are going to change over the next few years as these AI tools are implemented in our day-to-day commissioning activities. 2025 is being discussed as the year of commissioning agents, and I can see this as a best use case to actually help us get through the complexities of commissioning and make our jobs so much easier. I wrote an article about AI and the future of commissioning, and I've used Google's Notebook LM to summarize the article to get the important information into your hands. Have a listen.
You're listening to the Industrial Commissioning Association podcast, where we discuss best practices for industrial plant process and energy system commissioning. Get ready to say no to outdated industry norms and say yes to improved project performance. Here's your host, Paul Turner.
Welcome back, everybody. Today, we're going to be diving deep into how AI is going to completely revolutionize the commissioning landscape. We've got this super interesting discussion from the What Does AI Mean for Commissioning podcast to kind of dig into. And, right away, they make this really interesting comparison. They talk about how far we've come from those days of faxing hand-drawn updates to blueprints. Remember those?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it really highlights the sheer volume of information that we're dealing with right now.
Yeah.
It's gone for this trickle to a tsunami, I feel like.
Yeah, it's true. And I think anyone in commissioning knows what it's like to be drowning in emails and spreadsheets and updates. It's
Absolutely.
It can be so hard to cut through the noise and just focus on what actually matters.
Yeah, and that's where I think this deep dive gets really interesting, right? Think about it we went from those old fax machines to having more computing power in our pockets than it took to land people on the moon, right?
Yeah.
That same kind of exponential leap is happening right now with AI.
Right. Okay. So AI is evolving fast. We get it. But what does that actually mean for the energy sector? I mean,
Well, here's the thing, right? The demand for energy is skyrocketing globally. And in order to keep up, we need to be building new energy projects at a pace we've never seen before. So that means more power plants, more transmission lines, more renewable energy installations, and each one of those needs to be commissioned thoroughly.
So basically, AI is about to become essential in the energy world, whether we like it or not. But
I think so.
Is this a robots are taking our jobs situation?
Well, that's the question everyone's asking.
Right.
And to be honest, it's a little too early to say for sure, I think. AI right now is not at a point where it can handle the really complex problem solving that we need for commissioning.
That's good news.
Right.
At least for now.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that it's not going to drastically change how we do things, how we approach commissioning. Imagine a world where AI is analyzing mountains of project data in real time. It can optimize tasks, it can anticipate problems before they even happen, make decisions faster than any human could possibly do it. I mean, that's the future we're talking about.
Okay, I'm starting to see the potential here. The source had a great example about how AI could automatically assign those thousands of loop checks we all dread. Instead of waiting for that weekly spreadsheet, imagine that happening dynamically based on who's available and what progress has already been made.
Absolutely. And that's the kind of efficiency that we're talking about, right? But here's the catch. The construction industry as a whole, has not really been known for being early adopters.
You're not kidding.
On new technology, right?
We love our tried and true methods.
Right. But clinging to the status quo could be a real liability in the future because as more and more projects start incorporating AI, those who haven't adapted are going to find themselves falling behind.
And this is where it gets a bit more personal for anyone listening, right? It doesn't matter what your role is in commissioning, understanding these changes and being open to new tools, it's not really optional anymore, is it?
I don't think so, no. And this is where it's important to remember it's not just about the tech itself. Successful projects have always needed the right people, the right processes, and the right tools.
The source actually uses a Venn diagram to illustrate this, which I love, because who doesn't love a good Venn diagram, right? They said all three of those elements need to be working in perfect harmony.
Yeah, and it makes a lot of sense, right?
Yeah.
We still need top talent.
Right.
We need people who are experts in commissioning. We need best practices like the IC Global Commissioning Standard to guide our work. And now we're adding these advanced software tools that are specifically designed for the complexities of commissioning to the mix.
So it's really about like optimizing every stage of the process.
That's the key takeaway here.
Mhm.
AI isn't some magic bullet that's going to solve all of our problems overnight. It's part of a much bigger shift in how we think about and approach commissioning as a whole. It's about leveraging the power of data to achieve greater efficiency and ultimately better project outcomes,
Right. They're the ones on the cutting edge constantly innovating and refining these tools.
Exactly. And we're already seeing this happening. A lot of commissioning management software vendors are starting to incorporate AI into their systems. And over the next few years, those capabilities are only going to explode. We're going to have even more sophisticated tools for managing and analyzing project data right at our fingertips.
That's exciting to think about, but
Yeah.
at the same time,
It's a little scary, too.
yeah, I think it's important to remember that technology is just one piece of the puzzle, right?
Absolutely. We can't just throw AI at a problem and expect it to magically solve everything. Like we were saying earlier, it's about people, process, and tools working together in harmony.
You know, it's like a three-legged stool. If one leg is weak, the whole thing collapses.
Perfect analogy,
Yeah.
yeah. We still need skilled and experienced commissioning professionals to guide these projects, to implement best practices, and crucially, to interpret the insights that AI generates.
So it's not about replacing human expertise. It's about empowering people with better tools and information so they can make smarter decisions. It's about collaboration.
Exactly. And speaking of best practices, the source really emphasized the ICA Global Commissioning Standard as like a crucial framework for success in this new era.
Yeah, they made a great point about how the ICA standard helps us learn from the collective experience of the entire commissioning community. It helps us avoid common pitfalls and establish a solid foundation for leveraging AI effectively.
Absolutely. And that's where organizations like the Industrial Commissioning Association become so important. They play a vital role in connecting professionals, sharing knowledge, and promoting the adoption of best practices.
So for anyone listening who might be feeling a bit overwhelmed by all this talk of AI and data revolutions, don't worry, you're not alone. The ICXA is an incredible resource for staying ahead of the curve and navigating this evolving landscape.
And remember, change can be a little daunting, but it also presents some pretty amazing opportunities. Staying curious, engaging with these new developments, and being a lifelong learner are key to success in any field, but especially right now, I think.
I think one thing that really stood out to me in this discussion was that idea of AI not just changing what we do, but like how we think about commissioning in the first place.
Yeah, it's a fundamental shift in mindset, isn't it? We're moving from a reactive approach where we're mainly focused on like fixing problems after they arise to a much more proactive approach where AI can actually help us anticipate and prevent those problems altogether.
Right, and that's a huge change, right? It's like instead of constantly putting out fires, we can outwardly focus on building a more robust and efficient system from the ground up. But like, how do we actually do that? I mean, what are some like concrete examples of how AI is already being used in commissioning?
Well, one area that's really taking off is the use of AI in data analysis and predictive modeling.
Mm-hmm.
For a long time, we've relied on things like manual checks, historical data, and let's be honest, a fair bit of guesswork to try and anticipate potential issues.
Yeah, and that can be incredibly time-consuming, not to mention like prone to human error.
Exactly. And now we have the ability to feed massive amounts of data into machine learning algorithms.
Mm-hmm.
And this could include things like sensor readings from equipment building specifications, weather patterns, even past project performance data.
Okay, so we're basically feeding the AI a ton of information, and then what?
And then the magic happens. Or, well, maybe not magic, but it can certainly feel that way. The AI system analyzes all of that data, looking for patterns and correlations that we as humans might not even be aware of. And based on those patterns, it can actually predict potential problems before they even occur.
Wow, so instead of just reacting to issues, we can actually start preventing them. That's amazing.
Exactly. And it leads to some really tangible benefits. Think about being able to create more efficient maintenance schedules, optimize a building's energy consumption, avoid costly downtime because you're addressing potential problems before they become major issues.
Right, that's a win for everyone involved. Do you think this kind of predictive capability can be applied to like all sorts of commissioning tasks, or is it limited to certain areas?
I think the potential applications are pretty vast, from identifying bottlenecks in a construction schedule to ensuring that a complex HVAC system is operating at peak efficiency. AI has the potential to revolutionize how we approach commissioning, across the board.
Okay, now this is where it gets really futuristic. I've heard a lot of buzz about using AI-powered robots in commissioning. Is that actually a thing, or is that still science fiction?
It's definitely more than just science fiction. We're not quite at the point of having robots running around doing all our work for us, but we're getting closer.
So no Optimus Primes on the job site just yet.
Not quite. But think about all those tasks in commissioning that are either time-consuming, dangerous, or just plain tedious for humans, right? Things like inspecting hard-to-reach areas, conducting repetitive tests, maybe even performing minor repairs.
Yeah, tasks that are often prone to human error, too.
Exactly. Those are the kinds of tasks that AI-powered robots could potentially handle, freeing up human commissioners to focus on the things that really require human expertise, like complex problem-solving and strategic decision-making.
So it's not about robots replacing human workers. It's about robots augmenting their capabilities, making them more efficient and effective.
Exactly. It's about creating a powerful partnership between human intelligence and AI-powered tools.
And this idea of partnership and integration seems to be kind of a recurring theme throughout our conversation, huh?
Yeah, and I think it's a crucial one. The goal isn't just to implement AI for the sake of it. It's about finding ways to leverage this technology to make the entire commissioning process better and deliver real tangible benefits for everyone involved.
Right. It's about working smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
Right. But of course, with any new technology, there are going to be challenges and roadblocks along the way. What are some of the potential, issues we need to be thinking about when it comes to AI and commissioning?
Well, one of the biggest challenges is data quality and accessibility. AI algorithms are only as good as the data they're trained on.
It's a garbage in, garbage out.
Exactly. If we're feeding AI systems incomplete, inaccurate, or inconsistent data, we can't expect them to produce reliable or meaningful results. So ensuring data accuracy and accessibility across all project stakeholders will be absolutely crucial.
That makes a lot of sense. What about the people side of things? Are there concerns about job displacement or about people resisting these new technologies? I mean, change can be scary.
Yeah, those are definitely valid concerns, and it's important to address them head on. As we've been discussing, AI isn't about replacing human commissioners. It's about augmenting their skills and giving them tools to work more efficiently and effectively.
It's about empowering them, right?
Exactly. It's about helping them transition into more strategic roles where they can leverage their expertise and experience in new and exciting ways. But that does require a shift in mindset, both for individual professionals and for the industry as a whole.
So we all need to embrace lifelong learning and be adaptable, especially in a field that's evolving as rapidly as commissioning.
Absolutely. And organizations like the ICXA will be instrumental in supporting that transition. They can provide training resources and a platform for sharing best practices and lessons learned as we navigate this new landscape together.
It sounds like the future of commissioning is incredibly exciting, but it's also going to be a wild ride. What advice would you give to someone who's maybe feeling a bit overwhelmed by all this talk of AI and data revolutions?
I think the most important thing is to remember that you don't have to figure this all out on your own. There are resources available like the ICXA that can help you stay informed and adapt to these changes. And above all, stay curious. Engage with these new developments, ask questions, and never stop learning.
It's funny, we've been talking about AI and all this data for a while now, and I think I'm finally starting to wrap my head around how this is actually going to play out in the real world, you know?
Yeah, it is a big shift.
Right.
But I think the key is to really focus on those practical applications, not just the theoretical possibilities. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And I think our listeners are probably wondering the same thing. How is this actually going to change the way we do our jobs?
Well, one of the most exciting areas, I think, is AI-powered robotics. We touched on this a bit earlier, but it's worth diving a little deeper. We're not quite at the point where robots are running around doing all our work for us,
Right.
but we are getting closer.
Okay, so paint me a picture. What does that actually look like in practice?
Okay,
Yeah.
so imagine you're commissioning a massive solar farm, right?
Mhm.
Instead of sending human inspectors out there to manually check every single panel, which can be incredibly time-consuming and potentially dangerous, you could deploy a fleet of AI-powered drones.
So drones with brains, basically.
Exactly. These drones could be equipped with high-resolution camera sensors, allowing them to quickly and efficiently scan that entire solar farm, identifying any damaged panels or potential performance issues. And because they're AI-powered, they can analyze the data they collect in real time, flagging any anomalies for further investigation.
That's incredible. So we're not just talking about robots replacing human workers. It's about them like enhancing our capabilities and allowing us to work more efficiently and safely.
Exactly. It's about leveraging the strengths of both humans and AI to achieve better outcomes. And this kind of collaboration isn't limited to just solar farms, right? Think about inspecting pipelines, bridges, or even those complex HVAC systems in large buildings. There are so many potential applications for AI-powered robotics in commissioning.
It sounds like the possibilities are endless, but with all this talk about AI and robotics, it's easy to forget about the human element. What are your thoughts on the role of like human expertise in this new era of commissioning?
I think that's a crucial question. As technology advances, it's more important than ever for commissioning professionals to develop their critical thinking skills, their problem-solving abilities, and their ability to adapt to new situations.
So it's not just about learning how to use the new tools, it's about understanding how to interpret the data they produce and make informed decisions based on that information.
Precisely.
Okay.
And that's where experience and judgment really come into play. AI can provide us with incredible insights, but ultimately it's up to humans to make those final decisions and ensure that projects are completed successfully.
Right, it's about finding that balance between leveraging technology and maintaining human oversight.
Exactly. It's a partnership, not a replacement. And that partnership is going to be essential for navigating the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead in the world of commissioning. As we wrap up our deep dives today, I think it's important to emphasize that this is just the beginning of the AI revolution in commissioning.
It really feels like we're on the cusp of something huge.
Absolutely. And it's an exciting time to be involved in this industry, but it's also a time for us to be proactive, to embrace these changes, and to start thinking critically about how we can leverage AI to not just do our jobs better, but to redefine what's possible in the world of commissioning.
Well said. And to all our listeners out there, remember that you don't have to navigate this new world alone. Organizations like the Industrial Commissioning Association are there to support you, to provide resources, and to connect you with other professionals who are grappling with these same challenges.
Yeah, stay curious, stay engaged, and never stop learning. The future of commissioning is bright, and it's up to all of us to shape it.
Until next time, keep diving deep.
Thanks for listening. To become a member of the Industrial Commissioning Association, visit icxa.net. Members get access to commissioning standards, procurement specifications, commissioning training and certification, plus many more specialized resources to help you with commissioning of your industrial plant process and energy systems. Visit icxa.net for more information.